City of Arvada prepares a 2-year budget and a 10-year financial plan. By having a 10-year financial plan, it forces us to be more conservative. The reason behind that is anything that's proposed to be adopted in the 2-year also has to be funded throughout the 10-year plan. The City Council adopted a budget and fiscal policy that requires us to have fund balance reserves in every year, and it requires the city to balance in every year. We are a data-driven organization. We use many different inputs to create our 2-year budget and our 10-year financial plan. These inputs include the citizen survey, last year's results, local, regional, and national financial data, and of course, our City Council strategic plan. All of this data helps us to create our 10-year financial plan, keeps the city fiscally safe, and lets us deliver all the superior services that you have grown to love. There are many pieces to the overall city budget, including more than 25 funds, over 200 active capital projects, and countless council initiatives. We're going to focus on 3 main financial areas. The city receives a majority of its revenue through sales tax, and through council direction, allocates this to some of these areas that we're going to talk about. First one we're going to talk about is the operating budget. The operating budget pays for many of the items that you're used to: streets, parks, police, and other services that you've grown accustomed to. Most of these services reside in our general fund, some in our parks fund, and the remaining in our police tax increment funds. The next area we're going to talk about is our capital improvement fund. This was created in the 1960s through the 98-101 ordinance, which requires 60% of the first cent of sales tax to go to capital items or debt related to capital items. Right now, that is about 20% of our overall sales tax that is collected, and it goes to projects that you're probably very familiar with, ones like Ralston Road, 72nd Avenue, and the upcoming Myers Pool project. So the last section we're going to talk about is our enterprise funds. These funds are most like businesses that you would see outside the government world. We have 5 funds. This is water, wastewater, stormwater, solid waste, and the Gulf Fund. They are required to generate their own revenue, and to be an enterprise fund, they cannot receive more than 10% support from the general fund. And in fact, the majority of these funds receive 0 support from the general fund. Having specific financial areas helps ensure the budget is being spent on projects and services that benefit the community. Let's talk a little bit about where the city gets its revenue. Property tax is one of the main revenue sources for the city. Currently, our mill levy is 4.31 mills per $1,000 of assessed value, or $4.31. If you take a look at your home's overall value, you will notice that you pay around 90 mills in property tax. The city gets 4.31 of that 90, or about 5%. So on an average home, let's say a value of $600,000, you would pay around $3,000 in property tax. The city will receive $150 from that $3,000. If you add up all the residential and commercial property tax that is paid to the city each year, it accumulates to about $8.5 million, or about 8% of our overall budget. The city gets the majority of its revenue from sales tax. This sales tax is received in 2 different ways. One, businesses and located here in Arvada, so your grocery store, your restaurants, your other great businesses here in Arvada. And 2, through online sales. So these would be items that are purchased online but delivered into Arvada. This would be businesses like Amazon, Walmart, Target, and even Uber Eats and DoorDash. When you make a purchase, the Arvada sales tax rate is 3.46%. Of that, 3% goes to our general operating costs and 0.46% goes to police services only. The 2022 budget raised over $72 million in sales tax, which accumulates to about 60% of our overall general expenditures. The best way to support city services is by shopping at an Arvada business. This allows us to continue to deliver the superior services and enhance the lives of everyone in our community.